ask the Vice Chancellor of University and the Chair of South Sudan Philosophical Society to come and give his final remark and the closing of this convening. Welcome, Prof.
I first want to give thanks to U.S. Embassy, which actually made this project possible. It's been fantastic 1 year of debates on this topic of democracy, the rule of law, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. So much appreciated, and we hope that we will continue to collaborate and partner with U.S. Embassy to take this project forward, whose intention was to widen the space of shared values between South Sudan and the United States, and so that we have stronger cultural, economic, and political ties. I want to thank U.S. Africa Institute, the president, the former chief executive, for collaborations over the last and organizing, identifying the lecturers, and really been wonderful. I want to thank Dr. Thaddeus for his leadership. I want to thank Solomon Belete for hard work and for diligence. And I want to thank two of you for making it from US to come to Juba. We have been meeting virtually, but now we are actually together. So I really want to thank you for that very much. Please give them, I want to appreciate our lecturers who delivered lectures over the last year. Some may not be, participating virtually, and we want to thank Professor Gold, and also Dr. Susan Page for actually coming to actually finalize this capstone, discussion. So thank you. Give them. I want to thank the panel for honoring us. I can see, this is now civil society coming to university. And of course, I can see that, you kind of think that university is somewhere not, it doesn't say that, but it almost seems like if we are ivory tower, that is not connected. But this is, I cannot blame you, because people think that once they cross the road, I call that minstrel, they go to the other side of the road, they think that we are not relevant here, even if they actually left from this place. So I'm sure that we gave the foundation for what you have. So I'm proud because there are people who think that, university, somebody saying university is just crap. University of Juba is not producing anything. But whenever you find very powerful people, around, some of them are actually graduate leaders. So thank you for that. And very soon we'll ask you alumni to build the university. It will not be enough for somebody like my colleague to come and say, oh, I'm really happy. We really need your help so that your university, I appreciate that, but you have to contribute to university. We are going to create a fund to support this and to facilitate. You can see how we are using the internet, the electricity is there, we are sitting in cooling system, but this is something we've done with very limited resources. With your help, we can build a truly cooperative. My colleague, the panel, from university here, I can see Dr. Angelina, NTLI, I can see Dr. Pio, I can see Tabitha, participating. So really, I will thank you, give clap to our colleagues who have been. And to you, the participant, the deans, the directors, and also the students and various people, civil society, and those public who came questions. So really, we want to appreciate you for 2 days that you have given to us diligently. So we really need to appreciate you. And my colleagues, the organizers, I was so busy. So eventually, I've been trying to get the pieces working together. And then Professor Blacking was away. And then he came and I said, please take care of this. And was able to pull it together. Dr. Angelina was actually helping me to organize things and put the action plan. And then, we came together. Dr. Marshall had been working hard. Professor, Milton has been actually very active. So please, but also the ICT here. So please stand up so that you get that. Organized, and we have one here who have been also organizing. Please stand up. Of course, I think this is really wonderful. Now, to just, whether to abuse my platform or my right or to make use of it, I just have a few thoughts. All this conversation about democracy, the rule of law, and human rights. How can we realize that in our country? I understand from Yakana that we need to educate people to know about rights. That reminds me of going to the church and be taught how to be a good person. And we know the challenges that are there about being taught, being aware, okay? And still you trespass, what is there. So really, I want to see the intersection of the economics, education, and culture. You can see we've been talking about culture. Some of us have talked about education, and some talk about economy. I think they are interlinked. In 2021, Christmas, I was able to read a book by Professor Clayton Christensen. The book, you find it, Yakana, may have you. It's called Prosperity Paradox. How innovation can lift countries out of poverty. And that book changed me from idealist to a realist. Now we can talk here. When you talk about corruption, there is economic problem under the table. When you find the lack of rule of law, when you lift the carpet, you find there is economic issue under that. So somebody talked about, can't remember which one of us, who said that 90% of the country is not under the, somebody said 1 million people maybe in Juba here, but the rest are not under, control of the government. And that has an economic connotation. They said, what you cannot tax, you cannot control. We are not taxing our people. In fact, we don't find the relationship between tax and democracy and that. We think that they are linked, but they are. And we have neglected tax, and we think that we will have democracy. The taxation create accountability. Whenever I pay my money, I expect services. We have experience here in university. At the beginning, students were resistant to fee raise and adjustment. But they resisted, and we said for full 4 years without doing anything. And then we had a fight, which was settled in between. So they were able to increase what they are paying, and then we were able to actually provide them the services. Last year, we actually doubled. Because what happened, we have in the beginning, they told us that, okay, have it and next year you can bring it. So the agreement that we have it, And then last year, we doubled it. We went to where we had the fight, and they kept quiet. None of them asked anything because they had seen the value. The same happened to taxation. So it created, you remember, the American war independence resulted on the question of that, no taxation without representation. The same thing happened if you tax your citizens. So there is a relationship. But tax also is the one that builds the country, because you will be able to pay those who are responsible for the rule of law. And we think that they are not related, but they are. Now, Clayton taught me this. He said that you don't make rules in order to create prosperity or actually to create markets. But he said markets develop autonomously, and then later on the rules of law follows. And if you look at Europe and Western Europe and so on, it was really a wild west. People were grabbing. There was a lot of exploitation. You know very well, you colonize, Louis XIV, actually just, went and robbed and, had monopolies, and they built armies even to conquer more. And so did the British, colonize India for 300 years and so forth. The West won, slavery, free trade. So all this wealth that you have was built on what? On brute force. Now, there is a lesson here. If you want, what I see here, there are states like where South Sudan is. I'm just reading the context. There are people actually who are against the rule because the rules will tighten their hands. So the stage where we are is that you grab and keep. And now, once people have grabbed, and this is what happened, then they are going to use rule to protect. It means they grab, they make their wealth, and then they bring the law now to protect the property that they grab. In another way, they are actually going to kick off the ladder. So if you come after they have collected the money, they have made the properties and the land, then they are going to tell you there is rule here. Let's go to court. This is the stage where South Sudan is. Now, if you look at the history, the Magna Carta, and I hope Professor Goldman is still there. Magna Carta was actually a quarrel between the barons and King John I in 1125. And the question was, those people had land and they had property and they were being taxed by the king anywhere they were. And then they said, hang on, you know what? Before you tax us, you have to ask the consent of the parliament. Please sign this one. And that's where they said that even the king, the parliament is above the king. But before, the king was above everyone. But it was not implemented until. So it's to do with economy. These people were taxed and they said no. And then they have to constrain the monarchy. And even Magna Carta was not implemented until 400 years later on. But there was a beginning. So to conclude, what is happening in South Sudan now, you can call it stages of development. In Western Europe, there was land and people were producing, if you have land, there are people with no land and they work in those farms and they were exploited. And so in those countries, there was aristocracy which actually grew. And aristocracy now is the one that had power and the monarchy and so forth. But you have these systems. You have plutocracy where few people have the power. Aristocracy, of course, is where the rich have the power. And then democracy is where the people have the power. Where do you think we are now in South Sudan? For me, we are not coming from the kind of peasantry, aristocracy. What is happening? We are in plutocracy, where the few have the power. Even the members of SPLM, they don't have power. Very few people have power and they decide who is to be the Minister of Finance. Very few. And now what is happening to plutocracy? It's not democracy, it's still democracy in name, but the real is not plutocracy. And so plutocracy is putting money through contracts in the hands of the few. And those people now are sending their kids to high, to education, they are coming. Visit pyramids, you will find them there. Now, this is going to be the new aristocracy. They speak very good English, they have foreign education, they have money. So the next stage that are coming is aristocracy, children of plutocracy, those who have this one. Then after that, they are all going to fight and quarrel. And then they will have, say, let's have democracy, let's have representation. At the moment, it's grab and keep. And they haven't have grabbed enough. When they have grabbed enough, they are going to kick away the ladder. And then they say, let us obey the rule of law. Now, finally, I think there is overlap here. And if I can put this one and enjoy my handwriting, oh, you wouldn't see anything. At the top here is education. And then you have culture, and then you have economy. They actually interact. Now, what happened? And then the rule of law. That is my theory. You see, education influence, keep it constant, or I keep mine constant, sorry. Education pulls, like a balloon. It pulls the economy, it influences the culture, it changes the mindset. And then the overlap here is how effective, they are moving together. So they are moving there. If education grow, then actually that piece of triangle grow. This is my theory that I actually concocted while I was listening. And then you have the, to counter Yakana model. And we know that John also has his own. So this is John Akec. That is Edmond Yakana. Let's see what's going to work. So the culture influences the rule of law, the way people think. Juba City Council think that although the land in customs was actually done for, was actually registered, but they think that it belonged to the locals, and I will not call the tribe. And they think that, we have given them a land across the river. This is ours to develop. That's a cultural thing. And they will actually scorn the rule of law because they don't know that. Actually, we registered land in 2005, but the Ministry of Housing started to dispute it in 2012. So you block this one out and you simply, and this is a public land, you are even giving it to individuals. That's a cultural equation. So that the land of our ancestors, nobody can come here and do this. And it's nothing to do with Barelon. It's everywhere. All South Sudanese behave like that. All of them. You find the same thing. This is a community land. We are actually above the rule of law. And that's what we are seeing. Education, of course, will change everybody. I hope you will remember that. And the economy, once the resources are distributed, then we will try to protect use of law. See, we are reasonably rich and reasonably educated. So you can see that our attitude has to change because you can have a PhD. But if you have not, if education has not made any difference on you, has not taken the village out of you, then, we have a problem. Education also improves the knowledge, the human capital to do that. But economy here, Yakana, you talk about salaries. There will be no rule of law if people are not getting decent salaries. I've been crying and crying, but you joined me last time and react, and I was watching from home. I said, yes, Now, a lot of people are actually, but I've been crying all the time. I tell them, look, this is a small thing. The traffic policemen who are stopping water, they are not being bribed. They're just collecting their salaries. And so now, if you are persecuting a person, if you have no money, you will not have persecution. Because if somebody is in Jebel, you have to transport them. You have to pay the police the incentives. You have to buy the petrol, to take the car. And then if it is at John, then tomorrow you have. So, and there is time also, I was involved in this, whereby somebody who committed a crime, minor social crime, and has to be arrested here, you have to actually, the citizen have to pay for the police to go back to work and the tickets and keep them. This is public finance gone wrong, because it's not paying the budget for the judiciary to run it, it's not paying the judges not to be bribed. And what happened here, if you are rich, now there are cases that go on. You talk about property, security, rule of law. There are cases that just drag on. But a powerful person will go, get all the papers, and even use the army, to come and grab public land. Now, it's to do with economy, to do with finance, to do with culture, to do with education. So I think all these things need to work together, but lectures alone will not be enough, Yakana. Regarding what we are saying, we are trying to form expert constitutional reference group here. Also, will be funded by ANMIS, and I'm sure will be at the School of Law. So I really appreciate the exchange that we had. I apologize for talking too much. Let me say that there is I don't have the truth. The truth, we all have it. And what we are trying to do through Society and US Africa Institute is to talk, and then we will grow together and have one mind. So all what we have taken here, let's take it on. Thank you all. God bless. Have a week.